Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, respected teachers and my dear students. I am in front of you with a very interesting document which was shared with us during a workshop arranged by Cambridge examiners at the time when they had decided to change the syllabus of English 1123. So obviously they wanted to equip their teachers with maximum expertise so that they can prepare their students accordingly. And during that workshop, this essay was shared with us, and very interestingly, this essay was awarded full marks by Cambridge. There were several sample essays, two to three, out of which this one was the best. And although this is a descriptive essay, but several of the techniques and tips we can use even for the improvement of our narrative essay. I have taken screenshot of that original paper. I will be sharing that with you, and at the same time I have typed that essay so that we can read it together and you can gather maximum information about the features of descriptive essay and how to teach your students accordingly for the improvement of their writing abilities in general. So starting, and please stay tuned till the end so that you can take the screenshots of that sample essay. So this was the sample essay awarded full marks by Cambridge examiners. Let's read the sample which was awarded full marks and note down the important point for our improvement in the writing paper. So my dear students, my dear viewers, this was the planning which the student had done in his paper. I have taken the screenshot. I have taken pictures from via cam scanner. You can see that this was the original handwriting of the student. The student had done this rough planning on the neat paper. This planning was done by the student on the neat paper, as I have given the heading of planning of descriptive essay. Many students plan not to attempt descriptive essay in their exams. My humble and sincere advice is that please don't take this risk. Sometimes the topic of narrative essay is so challenging and boring that you don't feel like writing 350 to 450 words on that topic. And you know that 0500 students, they get this topic for 40 marks, and 1123 students have to attempt the same question and their marks are 25. So why you should take the risk of attempting and preparing only narrative essay? Please be prepared even for the descriptive essay. Then in the exams, according to the context, you can decide whether you should go for narrative or descriptive. And second most important thing I want to tell you is that even if you will just write and tell story in the narrative and you will not describe, you will not be able to get maximum marks or full marks or good score or a star in your writing paper. So you need to pour in some techniques of descriptive essay in your narrative. At least 20% of description should be there in the narrative, and which places you should describe, I will be sharing the examples from this passage, from this sample which the student has written. So please stay tuned. So you see that you can see that this student has made two circles. One gives the heading of bedroom window and the other has been written living room window. So it means the topic that was assigned to him was that describe the scene from two bedroom windows, from two windows of your house. One would be bedroom window and the other would be living room window. And you see how minutely and meticulously he has written short notes as far as the planning of the essay is concerned. Many students think that there is no need to plan the descriptive essay. Now you can see that planning is required. Now, what are you supposed to plan in your descriptive essay? You can plan different images that you will mention in your descriptive essay. You will mention the different sites, how you will, how the opening image of your essay will commence, how it will close. All these things you have to decide. So, moving on with the other part of the essay. Now you see this was the first paragraph of the essay. I will not be reading from this version. I will be reading from the typed version. I am just sharing the screenshots with you so that you can believe my words that this was the original essay written by the student in his or her own handwriting. We don't know whether it was a boy or a girl. Presumably it was a girl because such kind of hard work and such kind of preparation girls, the students are more expected to do, but even the boys are quite smart, we can't say anything. So you see that it started with living. You can just note down the picture of this essay, and I will be reading it from the typed version, and I will be teaching you the techniques. Looking out, you see this was the second paragraph. Then this is the third paragraph starting with as I sit in silent secrecy. Why I am telling you the starter words, so that when I read it from the typed version, you can identify that I am reading the same essay. I have not added or subtracted any word. This is the same essay that the student himself wrote. This is the fourth paragraph starting from the words the view from the back of my house. Now you see it means that now the second part of the essay has been started, where the other side of the view was to be described. And this is the next paragraph starting with fifth paragraph. Here again, though the scene is brought to life, and on he writes. Then this is the last paragraph. So while the views from these two windows, this was the last paragraph. I just shared it with you so that you can read it, you can take screenshots. Now I will be sharing the typed version of the same essay. Now you see this is the typed version of the essay. I typed it myself so that I can share it with my respected colleagues as well as my beloved students, so that before the exam they are well prepared not only for narrative but also for descriptive. Now let's read it together. The topic was describe the views from two different windows of your home. View from living room window and bedroom window. These are the two angles from which he will be describing his views. Now, living in a small rural community. Why I have put the word living in bold? I will be explaining you the reason, because it is a verb. And the important point that I want to tell you is that in descriptive essay, you must not be starting every sentence with the pronoun I. Why? Because I should be at a hidden position and the image should be at the, you can say, front position. And in order to bring image at the beginning and in order to keep I at a hidden position, you need to start your sentences in a different and stylish way, like this student has done. Living in a small rural community, I have come to love the blend of having both town and country life. Now you see that he will be giving us a combination of town and country life. And you see that I have is at the hidden position, living verb is at the start. You get the best of both worlds, and both of these words can be paired into individually. Now you see the phrasal verb paired into has been used by the writer of this essay, which means that they will be looked into detail, with depth they will be viewed depending on which window in the house you choose to look through. Now you see present tense has been used. In descriptive essay, the best tense which is recommended by the examiners is that you should be writing it in the present tense. Now this is the second paragraph of the essay. Again, it starts with a verb. Looking out of the living room window at the front of the house. Now you see the punctuation marks by the students are accurate. In the same way, you should also punctuate your sentences accurately if you want to achieve excellence. At the front of the house lets you live. Now you see the passive voice style, lets you live, not that you are living, lets you live the town life in your imagination. Now the images and the beautiful combinations of different figures of speeches are going to be started. Now all the expressions which I have put in bold, all the expressions which I am going to explain, they are worthy of explanation and you all have to note them down very carefully. The cacophonous symphony of sounds. Now you see cacophonous symphony of sound is a beautiful example of oxymoron. What is oxymoron? I will be explaining it in the next slide. Briefly, I can tell you that it's a combination of two contrasting things. How can we say that it's a contrasting thing? Because cacophonous is a loud and unpleasant sound, whereas symphony is a pleasant sound and it's not that loud. So it means that from the main road, what could be heard? Cacophonous symphony of sounds could be heard. It means a combination of pleasant and unpleasant, loud and less loud sounds could be heard. In front of that road is a row of prim and proper peach colored houses. Just imagine the beauty of this expression, because the three P's, I have put them in bold. I have highlighted this phrase because it's an alliterated phrase. What is alliterated phrase? The phrase in which all the words start with the same letter. And here that letter is P. So, in order to describe the houses, the student has used a beautiful alliteration. No difficult vocabulary has been used, but already the words which were in the mind of the student or in the vocabulary of the student, he has combined them. He has used combinations. Now, you see, prim and proper, peach colored houses. Now, the houses, we never call them proper or prim. It means that they were very beautifully constructed. They were having a very proper shape, which make up our small, quiet estate. Now, you see, the noun is estate, and two adjectives have been used in order to describe the noun of estate, small as well as quiet. That is why they were proper houses, because they were not making extreme loud noises. There isn't a huge amount to feast your eyes on. Now you see, this is an idiomatic expression. That is why I have put it in green color for you to understand that it's an important expression, which means that the view described is not particularly impressive with the vibrantly painted front doors, except that the doors were vibrantly painted. Now again, see, the student has used combination. Doors was the noun, and vibrantly painted front doors. He used three adjectives to describe the doors, that they were painted, they were very prominently and vividly painted, and only the front doors were painted. So just imagine, being the only source of variation, being the only source of variation means that they were the only source of variety. They were the only source of attraction because they were vibrantly painted. So you see that no nouns are alone. Nouns are always should be accompanied by adjectives. Why they should be accompanied by adjectives? So that they create a complete picture and they create a prominent impression. With its grey road and perfectly positioned pavements, again you see the combination, the alliteration, the repetition of first letter. For example, road, everyone knows that it has grey color, but we never mention it because we don't want to create an image. We should be creating images so that everyone can visualize, everyone can hear the sounds which we are trying to produce in our story or in our description. They were perfectly positioned pavements. Again, three P's, with P perfectly, with P position, and with P pavements. The estate may seem dull and dismal because it was boring. So these are the two synonyms of sadness or dullness or less activity, yeah, less excitement. But it is the people who really bring it to life. So you see how beautifully the image of that estate, which was small, which was quiet, which had vibrantly painted doors, which had peach colored houses. The writer has described them so beautifully. The only difficult expression that he has used is the cacophonous symphony of sounds, about which I am going to explain to you in the next slide with more detailed. Why I have chosen it? Because it's an oxymoronic expression. You can note down the spellings of this word. It is not necessary for you to get confused. It is not a difficult thing. It's a figure of speech. What is a figure of speech? Just as simile is a figure of speech, just as metaphor is a figure of speech, in the same way oxymoron is a figure of speech. Figure of speech means the techniques of that language. Just as you use proverbs in Urdu language or muhavarat you use in Urdu language, in the same way in English language there are different techniques. So the cacophonous symphony of sound. Cacophonous means harsh and unpleasant sound. Symphony means pleasant sound. Now it suggests a lively, bustling atmosphere with a mixture of sound that might be chaotic, but at the same time, they can be engaging, they can be pleasing, they can be interesting. So it's a combination of pleasant and unpleasant sound. This is the literal meaning of that phrase. And at the same time, I have shared some more examples of oxymoron so that you can understand this technique and you can use it if you are expert in it. For example, bittersweet. Now you see how can a thing be sweet and at the same time bitter? Now this is a contrasting phrase. It's a combination of contrast. So this is what a combination of contrast is called oxymoron. In the same way, deafening silence. You see, sometimes the silence is so dominant and overwhelming that you seem afraid of silence. In the same way, something a secret, but at the same time open. You see, contrast in this expression also. This is also an example of oxymoron. Random order. You see, at the same time order and at the same time random. Again, a contrast. Same difference. Now it is different and at the same time it is same. In the same way, sometimes you might have heard some of your teachers saying a regularly irregular student. Now, how can a student be regularly irregular when he is all the time absent from your class? In the same way, you can say perfectly imperfect. It means that not very perfect. So this is the technique of oxymoron. It is just a device. If you are expert of it, if you enjoyed it, you can use it. Otherwise, there are several other techniques and features which I will be sharing. So you can use them. It's not compulsory that you should have this in your essay, then you will get full mark. Thus, the thing is that there should be a variety of techniques. Now, I'm going to read the third paragraph of that student's attempt. As I sit in silent secrecy, spying on every passerby. Now, you see, again, I is not the first word. It started with a dependent phrase as. Sit, silent, secrecy, spying. Imagine the alliteration, the continued alliteration that he was sitting silently. He was not anyone know that he is sitting. That is why it seemed that he was spying on every passerby. I cannot help to conjure up stories. Conjure up stories is an idiomatic expression which means to imagine stories. I could not help to make up stories in my mind because he was spying, because there was silence, because passerby were moving. So he was conjuring up different stories in his brain. Now, what did he see? One image after the other will be up in front of you. Just imagine the beauty of this language. This is how descriptive essay is written. Now, what he saw was one middle-aged man. Now, you see, it is important to say, if you just say one man, it will not be a clear picture. You have to tell that it was a middle aged man, trudges through our estate every day on his way home from work. Now, why I have put the word trudges in bold? Because it's an important word. It's a synonym of walk, but it means to walk slowly with difficulty, taking lot of difficulty and labor and pain. So, because he was middle-aged man, because he was moving through that passage daily, so he trudged. Examiner normally asks this question from you in the comprehension paper also, that why did the writer use the word trudge instead of walk? So you understand why we are learning descriptive essay, so that your comprehension abilities are also improved, your language abilities are also improved, and you understand the effect of the writer in the choice of a certain word, because the writers don't just choose a word out of you can say meaninglessness. Now this student also had planned his essay very well, so it means that he wrote it in an expert manner. So moving on, as he walked doggedly. Doggedly means with determination. Now you see verb accompanied by adverb. Verb should always be accompanied by adverb. You have to tell how did he walk. You could say he walked as he walks determined with determination, or doggedly. And you see the present tense is being continued. No past tense should be there in the descriptive essay. Stooped over. Stooped over means bent over. It means that he was physically as if he was concentrating upon something. And with a stubbly face. Now, this is again, you see, face is a noun, but it has been accompanied by the adjective stubbly. Stubbly means unshaven, weathered appearance. Why this expression has been used? Because it seemed that he was having a tough day or a tough life. He was a hard working person. It seemed that his face was not properly shaved. It seemed as if he had been affected by the tough routine of his life, by the harshness of the weather. So, stubbly face is an important expression to describe the facial expressions of that man that has been toughened through time. Now, the stubbly face had become even more tough because when you follow the same routine on daily basis and you are living a laborious life, so obviously your facial expressions indicate that toughness of life. I often feel grateful about which side of the window I am on. Now you see slight short forms can be used, but excessive usage of short forms will not be used in the descriptive essay. Again, the next sentence is not starting with I, rather it says across the road the figure of another character comes into view. Now, this is the second image that he saw from that window, that figure of another character. Now, he did not use the word man, rather, he used the word character. So, it means that this was someone very special, as this man's eyes dart speedily. Now, you see, he did not say that his eyes move. He used the word dart and further enhanced the meaning of the word dart by adding speedily. Speedily, darting is already speedy movement, but the adverb speedily further enhances the meaning of the word dart, which means quick and sudden movement. And why did his eyes dart speedily? Towards which side? Towards his house. He surreptitiously sneaks a cigarette. This is a beautiful phrase again because of the alliteration, because of the combination of adverb, verb, and noun. And he secretly took out a cigarette from his pocket, and that is why his eyes were glancing towards his house in hurry, because he was afraid that someone might not see him. And who was that someone? Out of his pocket, and he lights it. Who was that someone? His wife. He was afraid that his wife might not catch him red-handed while taking cigarette, while smoking. So that is why his hands were trembling in fear of his wife's cunning eye. It means that the wife was clever according to this husband, and that is why he too was not very less clever. He too surreptitiously staked the cigarette. He too deceptively took out a cigarette so that he can deceive his wife and he can enjoy his smoking. Now I would be reading the fourth paragraph of that essay, the view from the back of my house. Now you see the first view is over. Now in the fourth paragraph, he is giving us the view from the other side. So what is the structure that we are making of descriptive essay? The first was introduction. Then he spent two paragraphs in writing down the view of the first window, front window. And now the remaining two paragraphs will be from the other side of the window. And what is that view? The view from the back of my house, however, is perfect for when I crave a quiet moment to myself. Then the time when he wants to enjoy, when he has the craving to be alone. So then that view and that sight is perfect. As it faces east, the view from my bedroom window brings the serenity of the sunrise. Now you see that how he has combined sunrise with east, how beautifully these two things have been combined. And then again the alliteration of serenity and sunrise. Serenity means peacefulness, calmness, tranquility. In the morning, the sky dancing with delicate hues of orange and pink. You see, in the morning when the sun is rising from the east, it gives a beautiful sight. And at that time, we can imagine the sky dancing with beautiful combinations of colors, which are orange and pink. So he did not use the word hues. He did not use the word colors, rather, he used the word hues. So, this is how, my dear student, images are to be described. Beyond are rolling hills with tremendously tall trees dotted in every direction. Now, he did not say, "Okay, when I look beyond," rather, he just said, "Beyond are." You see how beautifully the repetition of I has been evaded, and how beautifully he is writing down this descriptive essay, rolling hills, because they are one after the other. And now again, look at this combination of T, tremendously tall, T, trees. Again, this is an example of alliteration. I forgot to make it bold. But you see, trees is a noun, tall is an adjective, tremendously is an adverb. This is how you have to learn to make combinations of adverbs, adjectives, noun. Adverb, tremendously, tall, adjective, and trees is a noun. Just one glance sends waves of peace and calm washing over me. So you see, washing over means as if calmness was enveloping the speaker, as if it was covering the speaker. And again, I have given the literal meanings of those phrases which were in the bold. This is just an additional part which I have written. The student's paragraph ended over at washing over me. Now, again, the fifth paragraph. Here again, now you see, this is the second paragraph he is giving for the other side of the image. Though the scene is brought to life by living creatures with a perfect bird's eye view. Bird's eye view, we mean when you are having a bird's eye view, it means that you are taking everything into consideration, just as a bird can see everything from the sky. So this is the perspective of the writer has changed. Have you noticed that throughout in every paragraph the writer is changing the perspective? If he kept on sitting near the window and if he just gave us one paragraph, so obviously he will not be able to complete the word length of 450. So he has to change his perspective. Now he is giving us the bird's eye view. I observe as my neighbor strides confidently. It means that he's walking confidently. You see, three times the word walk was replaced with an appropriate synonym. Sometimes the writer used the word trudge, sometimes stride, and sometimes walking with laboriously or with difficulty through the jungle that is her lawn. You see, this is an example of metaphor. How did I know that this is a metaphor? Because bold comparison is made. The lawn has not been compared with the jungle. It has not been said that the condition of the lawn was as you can say poor as a jungle. It means that there were wild plants over there. But the writer had boldly said that the jungle, that is her lawn, in order to hang out her mountains of washing. You see, this is an example of exaggeration. When you see that he is on his deathbed, when he was just ill. So this is also mountains of washing. It means that too many clothes had been washed. In her leopard print pajamas, you see, even the color of the pajamas, the design of the pajamas has been mentioned because the writer of this essay had a scheme in his mind not to write isolated nouns or not to write isolated verbs. And this is the basic technique which I want to teach my students repeatedly in class, that make combinations of nouns and adjectives, verbs and adverbs, and never write isolated nouns or isolated verbs. So, with a messy bun sitting in a perfectly imperfect way on her head. Messy bun, when you roll your hair in a messy way, it takes the shape of a bun. You see, again, the image has been made. And again, oxymoron has been mentioned, perfectly imperfect way on her head. She looks like the definition of comfort. Like, the word like indicates that this is a simile. Now, like the definition of comfort, it means that she was perfectly relaxed and perfectly at ease. Then the animal antiques begin as my sister's mischievous rabbit frolics fearlessly through our garden to fight off the fat felons that are encroaching on her territory. Another image he has described by the description of animal antics and the way animals were behaving in that lawn. What were they doing? It was the mention of a rabbit. The writer has used the adjective mischievous in order to describe the naughty nature of the rabbit. And then again, frolics fearlessly. Repetition of F and F. Repetition of the same combination verb and adverb. Frolics is a verb and fearlessly is an adverb. Frolics means enjoy, move playfully through our garden. To fight off, what were the rabbits doing? They were trying to fight with fat felons. Now you see, again, just felons could be written, but the writer had again consistently used the combination of adjectives and nouns. And what are felons? They are type of domestic cats. They were encroaching on her territory. Again, it's a beautiful word, as if they were taking extra space beyond their right. So these are the similes and oxymoron and metaphor. I have already explained them to you orally. You can just read them. And these were just my explanation. And now this is the closing of the essay. How did you see? It is important to write the conclusion, even if it is one sentence or two sentences. Many students skip that. So you see, how did he close this essay? So while the views from these two windows are so different, one thing is sure. You see, comparison and contrast, winding up. When I sit snuggled up means nestled into a warm and comfortable position. Meaning, it means that when you are enjoying a comfortable corner of your home. So when I sit snuggled up, again the repetition of S with a steaming cup of tea. Steaming cup of tea creates the impression that it was fresh tea, it was hot, and again it creates an image of fresh tea being taken. I am never short of entertainment. So, this is how beautifully he sums up the ending of this essay. Also, that he says that when he is enjoying a hot cup of tea in an isolated and comfortable corner of his home, he is never short of entertainment. It means that he is relaxed a lot, he gets lot of entertainment. This is a recap of what I have discussed regarding the features of descriptive essay. I am sure that majority of the teachers and majority of the challenging students of different schools will enjoy this video, because many important techniques have been shared, and I'm 100% sure that if you will listen to this video at least thrice and note down all the important points which I have shared, you can do justice with the descriptive essay, and you can use some of these techniques even in your narrative. What is that technique? Combinations of nouns and adjectives, verbs and adverbs. Oxymoron can be there. These are the different figures of speech. Simile, comparison, in which you use the word as or like. Metaphor, which is a bold comparison. Alliteration, repetition of first letter of the words. No isolated nouns, combinations of nouns and adjectives, verbs and adverbs. This is the, you can say, the recap of all the techniques of descriptive essay, as well as how we can enhance our narrative essay, how we can improve our marks in the writing paper. Honestly speaking, when I shared these techniques with my students in 24 batch, one of my student, Jehan Suleiman, she's a girl, and she got full marks in the writing paper. So I am so proud that all these techniques will be beneficial to the coming batches and to the coming students. Best of luck. Allah Hafiz.